Hello everybody, my name is Samuel Frederick Potter, otherwise known as ExMedal, and this is my life, or at least some of it, because it would take too long to say the whole thing. My mum and dad, many years ago, made a 2-year trip to Norway. What has this got to do with me? Simple. I was born after the first year, on December the 1st, 1 month from Christmas. For the first few months, I was not allowed outside because my little baby lungs would freeze. I was taken to Britain when I was 1 with my mum, my dad, my older brother Joe, who knows an awesome lot of facts about cartoons, games, comics, and anime, and my older sister Alice, who I nicknamed Holtz after the tiger in one of my favorite childhood comic series. I was diagnosed with 2 conditions. Dyslexia, which made it difficult for me to spell, read, or write for, well, kind of a large portion of my young childhood, and autism, which caused me to think differently than others and to be a little bit emotional at times. But I didn't have any problems with these until years later. My mum and dad, however, were used to dyslexic children because my brother and sister also have the condition, so they already had stuff to help me. When they read to me, they would have pictures with them, and give me a small set of pictures that according to them I sometimes use instead of words. Like if I wanted a banana, I would show them a picture of a banana. This way of helping me was called the multi-sensory approach, a method that combines clear words with imagery to try and create mental connections inside the person. I don't honestly know if this had any influence on me concerning my comics and my love of them, but my mum seems to think so. So, it might have. Anyway. According to my parents, my first word was duck, and I didn't really talk until I was about 4 years old. I have a very good memory for things. I remember being in a pushchair with my grandparents in the rain, and how I would always wake up in the middle of the night and crawl around my fence, around my bed, and go into my parents' bed. I did this for many years. My parents read to me a lot. I mean a lot. One of the things they used to get my attention, or possibly my interest in reading, I'm not honestly sure which. Anyway, one of the first things they read to me was Garfield, my first taste of the strip comic. Other things I read to were Dilbert and Calvin and Hobbes, which would later lead to me naming my sister. I also remember when I was young, for about a year or 2, I thought I was a robot. I'd always refer to myself as one, and say my food was robot food. I even drew myself as a robot. At Backwell Junior School was around the time where my flair for making comics and stuff began, and I realized my ambition was to become a cartoonist. This was also around the time I first drew up the me that would become my signature child form. As time went on, my character design evolved subtly, and thus my style was born. To help me develop my artistic style, my parents brought in an art mentor, Rod. I learned a lot of things about art from her, such as proportions, perspective, and stuff. I was even invited to a wedding. It was a goth wedding in the caves of Wookiee Hall. Freaking awesome. At Backwell Senior School, I would always go to the computer room and play video games. I would also go to the library and hide comics like The Simpsons and Asterix books, so they'd always be there when I needed them. It was also at senior school that I began in classes like art, graphics, photography, and in the last few years, animation. So my creativity exploded. At summer school, I did classes in stop-motion animation and comics under the tutorage of one of my favorite Beano artists, Kev F. Don't ask what the F stands for. I made a lot of pictures with Photoshop and even made a few small comics. But one day I decided to do something more. I decided to make an animation. For the next 4 months, I drew each individual frame, but I soon moved over to Flash. It was a hell of a lot easier, I tell you that. I had to mostly self-teach myself because no one else knew how to use it, and after numerous experiments, produced my first real Flash animation, Blood Red. As I've said before, I have autism. I have to say there were times when I found it difficult to fully describe it and how it affected me. That's the reason why when I was about 12 or 13, I decided to create my All About Autism poster. In it, I illustrated and wrote about the different symptoms of autism, the different types of autism, and most importantly, how my brain works. This is one of my proudest achievements, and the poster is still being used by people today. I also did other works for the NAS, and I entered a piece in the Youngest Cartoonist of the Year award. I didn't win, but I did get a runner-up prize. I must confess that I was a little bit anxious about starting college, but then again, who wouldn't be? In my first year, I did some art pieces, like painting and drawing, and I did a lot of stuff on the computer. In my second year, I started doing more animations. One of the things that really stands out for me is the work I did for my work placement at St. Nick's, where I made a promotional animation for them, based on their logo, a flying fish. I have also set up my own website where I have put up my stuff like my animations and my drawings. I am kind of worried about what will happen when I leave college. Will I have a job? Will I still have my dreams? Will my work be anything in the end? And will my autism and dyslexia impede on my future? Who knows? Maybe when I put my stuff on the internet, someone will see my work and hire me to do something. I just hope that you've enjoyed this, because in the end, that's what a real cartoonist wants, for people to be entertained by his work. I'm ExMedal, and this has been my life. Or at least some of it, because it would take too long to say the whole thing. And believe me, that's true. I had like 7 pages of this and I needed help cutting it down. Anyway, time to go. Peace out!